Hello dear creatives, I welcome us to another wonderful fascinator making tutorial. And in today's tutorial we'll be learning how to make one of the latest designs in millinery. Is a feather fascinator. So I want to do a very big shout out to every of our subscribers, and if you are here to do so, don't hesitate to click the subscribe button. So without wasting much time, what are the materials required for today's fascinator? So the first and most important material you need is your triangle tipped feathers. Now some people call this star feathers, some people call it V feathers, whatever it is that it is called. You should know that this is one of the most important materials that you need for this particular fascinator. Then you need your millinery wire or your art wire. So some people call it art wire, some people call it millinery wire. So this is it. It comes this way, but I already cut out what I need, and that's why it's straight. So you need this, you need your paper tape or your masking tape. Then you need the thread in the exact color of your feather. So you need thread in the exact color of your feather. Then you also need your ribbon for extra aesthetics. Now I'm supposed to use the ribbon of the color of my feather, but I didn't get this exact color, so I decided to use black, since my Alice band is black and the human hair is black. But you can decide to also make yours in the color of your feather, so that's left to you. So without wasting much time, let's get straight into what we have to do. So the first thing to do is to cover or wrap our millinery wire with our masking tape. Now you need 30 inches of millinery wire. You need 30 inches, so this is 30 inches. So after cutting out your wire, the next thing to do is to wrap with your masking tape. Why are we doing this? We want to give the wire a bit of flesh. So this process is called fleshing up. So what do you simply do? It's not hard at all. All you want to do is to, just wrap it. Ensure to use it to cover it. So I want to wrap round and cover it such that it will look like it has more weight. So I'll wrap this round until I've covered the entire length of my millinery wire. So I'll just keep on going. I'll keep on wrapping until I cover the whole of it. Okay, so dear creatives, I'm done fleshing my art wire, and this is what I have. So I've tried to make it straight a bit, but it's still bending, which is very normal with linear wire because it was packed in circles. So the next thing after doing this is to now remove or open up your feather. So you need to open up the whole of this feather pack, because we don't want to cut it, because we want to mount. So we need the whole of the length of the feather. So right now I already loosed out this, and so this is what we have. So when somebody may be wondering, why did we have to? Because we are about to mount our feathers. So now feather mounting is not so hard. It's very simple. You just need to understand how it is done. So look at this. Now let me say this: if instead of using a thread, which is optional, you can use a cord. I don't have a cord. Cords are usually sold at tailor shops and they have more width than a thread, but sometimes I enjoy working with thread because it would not make my the stem that I'll be mounting on to make it too thick. While some people also use this velvet bias, the shiny one, just do something that would come out so nicely. And when you are using those types of covering instead of thread, you are going to layer as carefully as possible. This is what I'm saying. Look at how wide this is compared to a thread in my hand. And now when you are covering, you have to ensure that you are layering it so well, that it will layer very well. So you are going to drag and pull such that it's going to layer flat on whatever it is that you're using to cover. But because I didn't get the exact color of what I want to use, I had to get a thread. So the next thing I'll do is to pick my feathers. Now you want to start with the short ones, and then you begin to mount. You are going to mount gently and carefully. Like I said, you're going to start with the short ones. So I'm looking for a short one now. This is one. Now before I do this fascinator is going to be open somehow such that people they will see your stem, and that's the reason why I have to cover as carefully as you can. So I'm going to first of all use my thread. I'm going to wrap it round on my covered wire such that it's going to cover the paper tape. Like I said, you can use ribbon or velvet bias. You can use it. The choice is still yours. But when you are working with stuff like that, you want to be as careful as possible. So right now I already covered it. It's going to cover. You might be wondering that will this thing work? But it's going to cover, trust me. It's going to cover so well. But make sure that you double your thread, or even make it probably up to 8 strands, so that it's going to cover well. So the next thing to do now after covering is to begin my mounting process. So and here I'll put my first feather this way, and then I'll wrap it round. I've brought it closer to the camera. Can we see? I'll put my second feather, and then I'm also going to wrap it round it. So it's not as if there's one direction in mounting this particular feather, no, because the feather itself is going to open up out. So I'm going to put another one. Like I said, when you're working at this top, you want to work with the short feathers or probably the broken feathers. So I'm going to wrap. I'm going to continue. Just do something nice. I'm going to wrap again. So I'm going to cover the entire of all of this with my feather. Now notice there's need for volume in this particular work. The more feather you use, the more beautiful your work looks. Don't use small feathers. If you use a very little amount of feathers, your work will be scanty and it will not come out nice though. And you always, all those designs that you see, all those people that sell these designs make, is because they actually invested so well in using as many feathers as possible. So for this particular feather mount, you can use between 2 to 3 depending on the length you are working with. If it is a short feather stem, then maybe one is going to be enough for you. But if you know you are working with, you want to do something that is very long, please don't manage feathers. Oh please, people should not manage feather. The beauty of this thing is in the amount of feather you use. So can you see that? See, you can't even see where I covered with my paper tape again. It's all covered up. So that's the beauty. So I'll continue to mount. I'll mount until I've covered the entire of my millinery wire. So there, creatives, I already mounted the front, the part that's going to be opening up. So this is what I have. So I want to show us. Can you see? It's mounted like a tree that is growing. So this is it. So now, as you can see, no part is opened up. Every part is well covered already. So I want to show us something quickly before I continue mounting. Now this is the top part. Now when you are mounting, ensure that as you go, because we are going to be making a swirl, and when making a swirl, you know you want it to coil and all open up. So as you mount, depending on how you want it to open up, like something that's going to be so nice, you want to mount such a way that the design, that's the tip of the feather, will stay in such a way that by the time you fold like a swirl, it's all going to be opening up, showing. If you mount just only the tip, by the time you make the swirl, it's not going to come out so nicely. So this is how you want to stack by the time you have done the first part. So you ensure that the stacking is so short that such that this part is going to flow down, while the part of the tip is resting in a way that it's not like you're going to put this down part here. No, you're going to place it this way, and then you're going to tie. You're going to continue the same thing for every part. So take note of this particular process when you are stacking. So yes, this is what I'm trying to say for better understanding. If probably you know that you will not be able to get it, you can shorten the tip of your feather this way. Can you see? I've shortened the tip of my feather. As I've shortened the tip of my feather, then the next thing to do is to go in with it like this. So can you see? So when the swirl effect is made, it's going to open up by the side. So I'm going to continue stacking, just like I said. You should shorten it if you know that probably you won't be able to get the exact place you want it to stay. So you shorten it that way. It's going to help you find the exact place where you need to put it. So I'm just going to continue stacking on and on and on like that until I complete the whole of my millinery wire. Okay, so dear creatives, I'm done stacking, and this is simply what I have. Can you see? So this is what you are expected to have once you are done stacking. Now after stacking, I still have a little bit here, of which I purposely left because I would like to also attach it to my this one this way. So the next thing to do after stacking is to form your spiral. So it's time to form your spiral. So it's not hard, it's just that at this point, because there's load on the wire now, it's going to be a bit bulky, but you can still manipulate it. So all you want to do is simply, curve, form curves, just bend like this, or you twist, whichever one. So twist so well, twist, 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 just twist, and then by the time you release it, can you see? So now this is what it's going to give you, but then you need to now stretch it out a bit such that it's going to curve so well. So can you see? So now this is what we have, and then after doing this, the next thing you want to do is to go on ahead and place it on your Alice band. Okay, so dear creatives, the next thing to do is to now find the placement where you want to attach it on your Alice band. Now I have 3 spirals created, 1, 2, 3. Now this part of my third spiral is where that is going to rest on my Alice band this way. Please take notes. I've seen a lot of people make mistake with the placement of this particular fascinator. So the third spiral will rest on your Alice band this way, such that it's going to be carrying the other 2 spirals. Now this is where I'm going to, very importantly, look at this. I covered up so well. I covered like up to 1.5 inch. Why? Because this part that I covered up without no feather there is where it's going to be resting on my Alice band. Now for this remaining open side, I want to show us how to place the feather. So now remember that all our feather, they were first of all stacked up. Now the remaining feather that you want to use to cover this place, you are going to be stacking it in this direction, that is opposite direction. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So this is what I'm saying. Instead of you facing the feather in this same direction, you're going to be stacking it in the opposite direction this way. So this is how you want to continue to stack your feather. So you're stacking it in the opposite direction in such a way that this particular one will be facing out, because you want to cover everything entirely with feathers, and you also want some feathers to be out. So you're going to stack it in the opposite direction. So I'm going to do this and cover the remaining part of my open wire, and then I'll show us how to cover our Alice band, and then the next thing to do is to attach it. Okay, so dear creatives, I already covered everywhere, as you can see. So I already covered it, but I didn't cut out my thread because it's still the same thread I used to attach it to the Alice band. So while putting this one aside, you want to now cover your Alice band. Now, like I said, covering your Alice band can be optional, and covering it depends on what you love to use it to cover it with. But like I said earlier, I didn't get the exact color of the feather, and that's the reason why I'll be covering it with this piece of black satin bias with me. So the first thing you want to do is to grab the tip and apply just a little bit of UHU glue there. Wait for it to get dried, and then just follow what I'll be doing. So this one is not hard at all. Covering your Alice band makes your work, it gives you this beauty, and it makes it look very, very, very presentable, and it adds shine and beauty to it. So just like I did, you're taking it from the back. It has glued down, then you bring it back again. You don't want the tip of your Alice band to show, so this part that is showing, you're still going to add your glue to it and cover it entirely down. So then the next thing you want to do is to now begin to layer flat, very, very flat. So as you wrap, you drag. As you wrap, you drag. Please take note, ensure to drag. Don't leave it without dragging. If not, it will not lay very well. So you're going to continue until you have covered the entire of your Alice band. Recall, you can decide to do this. It's a thing of choice, and you may decide not to. And then I would advise that when you are doing such, you should work with the exact color of your fascinator if you have access to it. But if you don't, it's okay to use black. Yes, don't do something that is multicolored. So I'm going to continue with this until I'm done, and then I'll show us the next step on how to attach our fascinator to the Alice band. So dear creatives, as you can see, I'm done wrapping it, and this is what it looks like. Can you see how neatly covered it is? You can't see anywhere open at all. So the next thing we want to do now is to go in and attach this to it. So remember what I said at the beginning of this particular part, that the reason why we had to first of all check out our placement is to know how and where we are going to leave space, so as to know where it's going to rest on the Alice band. And we already got that. So the next thing to do is this place that you decided not to add so much feather, you're going to be resting it on your Alice band this way. And the next thing you want to do is to just attach it firmly. Like I said, I didn't cut out my thread initially, so what you want to do is to do what? Tie it round again. Just tie it round, and after tying it, you will now use your same ribbon or your bias to cover it. So ensure that you are not tying in a way that is going to reveal what you have done. And probably you cannot tie first, you can go in with your UHU glue or your glue, whatever glue you are using, and then after that, so I have tied. Can you see that it's now resting on it? Can you see what it's giving us? So this is what exactly we need. So now the thing I'm going to now do now is to cover using my glue and my ribbon. So I'm going to cut this out and then cover with my ribbon. So right now I already did that. So what I'll do is to pick a piece of my ribbon. I just cut out a small part, and then I'm going to add my UHU glue there, and then I'll wrap around. So it is very important that you cover. Like I said, you can decide though, especially for this particular part, to use the exact color of what you are working with if you can find it, but if you can't, then black is not a bad idea. So I'm going to wrap it round, and then after wrapping it round, I'm going to shape or also make out my spiral from this side. So now that I've wrapped it around, the next thing I'm going to do is to cut it. So it's just a very small wrap, you're not doing too much. Please take notes. I'll cut it and show us how to shape this part. So I already did just that, and this is what it looks like. So the next thing you want to do is to shape this part. Now this fascinator, this is the front, so the front is where you're going to shape this side. So you want to ensure to shape it so well. Just make sure that you bend it so well, so that it doesn't enter the person's eye, it doesn't disturb the person at the back of the ear or at the mouth side. Just do something nice, and then you are good to go. So that has brought us to the end of this particular tutorial video. I trust you've learned something new in today's tutorial. If you have, hit the like button, share and follow for more till I come by in my next video. See you. Bye.